This is the RPM Podcast, starring Eric Brennan,
Give me all your balloons.
Sam Ballard Jr.,
I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman.
Neil Rutt III,
We wish to welcome you to much inland.
Nick Rendo,
Typical of Italian cars. They wait until you really need them, and then they go wrong.
and Josh Matthews.
All BMWs are driven by people who are psychologically unfit to drive anything more powerful than an electric razor.
Hi, guys.
These are real tears. Oh my God.
That caught me so off guard. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the RPM Podcast. I give it a 10 out of 10.
That was fun.
That was the greatest thing ever. Oh my goodness.
About time you like our show.
Sam, live from UNC, although his face frozen, so hopefully that doesn't mean he froze.
Oh, it moved.
Oh, man. We're trying something new, folks. So we got Josh put this whole day together. We got Sam live from his dorm at UNC. Hi, Sam.
Party for one.
So, all right, I'm hoping this thing lasts for the entire duration of the show, but it's good to have Sam back in some capacity.
That's what she said.
So, he's
God.
back.
It starts already.
We also got Neil Rutt III and Josh Matthews in the house. And I'm Eric Brennan. Happy to be here because Neil and I thought we were getting nuked on the way down here. Sam,
We did.
I know you didn't get to see this, but on our way down, some big flash of green light lit up the sky above the Garden State Parkway. And
Yeah.
I thought I was dying. So
I thought the same thing, too.
I thought it was North Korea, although I didn't see it.
that's like, were you ever like in the shower or something, the power goes out and everything goes pitch black?
Why
for
is
a
it
minute?
always the shower
And-
with you?
Well, because that's where things happen. But, did that
Yeah,
ever So
I gotta bleep that now. Great.
Yeah. It's a family show. Family show. So,
He just
So-
realized.
as you can tell, Sam is back, and he picked a good time to come back because we're ready to start what NASCAR's calling the playoffs for 2017. And they couldn't have done it in more of a spectacular type of fashion. A lot of controversy, a lot of drama surrounding the season finale or the regular season finale at Richmond. And a lot of it revolves around the cause of cautions and an ambulance on
The
pit road.
Wambulance.
But I said, what are you talking about? It's about a freaking ambulance.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of it began. And if you didn't see what happened Saturday night because you may have been at your local short track or just didn't happen to catch it. So apparently there was a yellow, and NASCAR had a safety vehicle, which in this case was an ambulance, that I don't know if it missed the turn in to get on the pit road or to get away from the pit road entrance or what have you. But nevertheless, when the field came around turn 3, the pit road was open, and an ambulance was sitting right directly in the already narrow opening that is the pit road entry.
Now, the official word was the ambulance driver didn't get or ignored the call from the NASCAR officials to stop.
Yeah, but what was he even
Early.
called out there for?
I don't. They roll for everything. I blame Warren.
Debris, Neil. Debris.
I like the finger quotes, Sam.
Air
That was
quotes
good.
by Sam.
The track's going to get hurt from the debris. I got to send the ambulance out there.
Now, I think it was Kyle Busch that had said, was it a week prior? They didn't call a caution with the car in the wall bouncing off. He kept going, and here we had two cautions that I think shouldn't have been cautions. The one with Kenseth just smoking the tires. He locked him up a little bit, but he kept going, didn't hit anything,
Yeah.
and they
Wasn't
threw a
even close
yellow.
to the wall.
Exactly. So that was ridiculous. I'm sorry. It was effing ridiculous. And then the other one with Cope. Okay, yes, he did make contact, and there could have been debris and things like that, but he did keep rolling, and that
And it's Cope.
if it was a factory stock race, they stay green. We know that, and with all the rusty hunks of crap that those cars can be, with everything that falls off, I think it was our shocker incident, Neil, when my front bumper came off and I drove over it. I mean, yes, things fall off of those cars.
Yeah, but they still kept going. Well,
You know what
Yeah.
it is, though? I think the reason why they called the caution was because if it was 20 laps to go, they would have done the same thing. So to be consistent, which I think NASCAR actually tried on this time around, they threw the caution.
See, I
You're
actually
being too nice.
I heard, and I'm going to cite a couple things that I've heard on some other different podcasts that happened, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. said that he thinks that with this race being what it is and signifying what it does, NASCAR may have been a little trigger happy because they felt like you needed a moment. Like it looked definitive that Truex was going to win that race.
Let's have Clint Boyer
And-
spin it.
Now I have to argue that
Those
though.
Snapchats are private, Sam.
I'm going to argue because it wasn't this the race that several years ago when everybody got in the chase because of that whole Clint Boyer spin.
Yes.
Now, if anything, they should be not trigger happy.
Well, that's why I thought
because
Matt
they
got
should
in.
be. Well, I would say that they should have forced the drivers to no. You're not going to sit there unless you go a lap down because we're not throwing a caution for anything. I think NASCAR should have been the exact opposite because of the past.
But now you got to figure you have some extra eyes on this race. You have a lot of people paying attention to it. It looks as though Truex is going to win by what was essentially then a runaway. He had a really healthy
lead. Yeah.
So and the playoff bracket was kind of set until that yellow came out, and then everything got turned upside down. I mean, for a moment you had guys like Eric Jones and Joey Logano who were in that top 5 come the restart, and Larson won the race off pit road. You did have that. You really didn't know how it was going to end moment, courtesy of the fact that they threw a very quick and potentially over-exuberant caution that they didn't have to.
Well, also, now let's go back to the ambulance thing for a second, just because we're talking about people you're talking about how important this race is for whether or not people are getting into the playoffs, whatever you want to call it. They waived any commitment cone violations because of the ambulance, being in the way. I think Kyle Busch was, 2 car widths, out and then turned in,
Yeah, he
because
smashed through the cone.
Yeah.
The box.
yeah,
Kept
yeah,
going.
he went around, which I understand. I agree. Yes, it wasn't. The drivers had nothing to do with that. The pit road said it was open. They're all coming down. But if you're going to do that, because that ambulance issue screwed up the commitment cone or the commitment line and the cone, the box, whatever you want. And you saw the damage to Kenseth's car.
Yeah, was it a broken radiator? Or
Yeah.
something like that?
Now, shouldn't the 5-minute clock have been waived as well because it was caused from that same incident?
Well, I'll go one step further, and Sam, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that podcast we were talking about, that door bumper clear thing.
Best podcast besides this one on the iTunes.
Yeah, it's aside from us, aside from the RPM podcast, it's pretty good. And Brett Griffin went one step further than that, Josh. He said that Clint Boyer actually had the right rear quarter panel destroyed on his car in that contact with Kenseth, and he thought that NASCAR should have done something like maybe even given them their spot back. My opinion on that may differ, but I'm curious to what you guys think. And Sam, I'll start with you. Do you think NASCAR should have went above and beyond their normal call of duty here to try to reward teams who were damaged by this, or did they did they do the right thing alone by waiving the commitment cone violation?
I think NASCAR went above and beyond by really showing the drivers the commitment cone, and that was the ambulance. What they should have done was They should have parked the ambulance on the bottom side of the racetrack, and then everyone to the left would have been committed, and everyone outside wouldn't have been. But to actually answer your question, I don't know. I think NASCAR, really kicked himself in the balls on this one. This shouldn't have happened, and it's just hard though, because once you start doing this, and NASCAR's going to, if they mess up like this again, if Kyle Busch is involved and it's Homestead, you're going to give Kyle Busch a chance to fix his car and he's going to decide a championship. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, and that I'm totally against the idea of them giving a spot back to a driver, or of them letting them roll out backup cars, whatever the crazy thing that fans were throwing out there. I mean, look, how many times have we seen? See, why is the fly swatter out?
I saw a fly.
Oh, no.
I
don't
got
tell me that.
I got a fly swatter just because of you.
Sam, I'm coming to stay with you. So
room for one.
Sounds like I already have another guy in here.
How many? That's funny. How many times have we seen like a piece of the racetrack come up and damage a car? Or a couple years ago at the 600.
An Indy car too.
So yeah, or at the 600 where that camera broke off the front straightaway and struck Kyle Busch and Marcus Ambrose's car.
So lucky no one was injured.
But this is a. I want to curse, but this is a blank happen sport. It's probably more so than anything else. So you adapt to these crazy and unfortunate circumstances because it's part of the game. I mean, it's not fair. It's definitely unfair. But you know what? It just wasn't your night if you got caught up in this shenanigan, and that's it.
Exactly. I think Mark Martin hitting a pigeon is different from an ambulance driver stopping and screwing up the whole width of the entrance of pit road.
Yeah, but if you
giving
go back,
guys nowhere to go.
Go ahead, Sam.
wasn't this the first year that we're doing this whole? Didn't they hired a company to do the whole track service and everything this season? Is this the first year of that?
Well, no, I thought they hired a traveling safety team.
Yes.
Was what you were thinking?
Well, it's traveling. They don't know when to get off.
Well, and I mean, if you think back, this was the race where I think last year or 2 years ago that Michael McDowell ended up sideswiping a jet blower on the back straightaway and destroyed his car.
He tried to want Pablo at Richmond, and it just did not end well.
He didn't commit.
But at what point does the sanctioning body have to absorb?
Though.
Yeah, him, yes. At what point does the sanctioning body have to absorb some sort of responsibility? In this case, I think, they can own up to it. I mean, and they kind of cited it to being, a bad day in the office in terms of the officiating tower. But is that allowed to happen for something like for NASCAR? Like, are they allowed to have nights like that? And if they are, like, is it really supposed to be in what is probably one of their top 5 biggest races of the year?
Well,
not for nothing. I mean, I can speak from working at Wall for a couple of years that I have been. We don't have nights like that. We have nights where the drivers are being jerks, and they just ends up prolonging the night. But I mean, when people sign up at Wall Stadium, they expect us to be on our game every night. And NASCAR, if anyone, should be like that. My opinion.
Yeah, it should be held to a higher standard.
You can have screw ups in ARCA, sure, but when you get to the premier. I mean,
I don't think Frank Kimmel appreciates that.
He probably does.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm not saying the fans are going to have to agree with every call. I mean, you're still going to yell at refs, in a hockey game, and you can still disagree with NASCAR on whether that should have been a caution or not. But you shouldn't have incidents like the ambulance being essentially almost blocking half of the pit road entrance. Yes, no, Sam?
This adds the whole new. The ambulance should have been the restart line. They should let it sit out there and said, "You want to know what ruined Matt Kenseth the Clemson night? Oh crap! Ruin everyone else's night."
He almost skipped right.
There's gonna be a long beat right there.
That's how you know that Sam's been out of the game for a little while. By the way, Kyle Larson won the race, and that is in fact what happened after he won the race off pit road.
I'm kind of with Josh on this one.
I just realized that he's got 4 wins this season and 5 career totals.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how hot that team has been, and you want to talk about.
I just realized that Neil could count.
Shots fired. Also,
from the same count too.
The driver who we thought was going to win, Martin Truex Jr., ended up having one of the hardest crashes I've ever seen at Richmond, probably second to that of Derek
He did it
Cope.
to himself.
No, Hamlin admitted he drove into the back.
Yeah, but I got in a discussion with my father. He locked up the brakes, and you see the wheels. They're he had the car basically straight, and then out of nowhere, you see Martin's wheels just crank right.
He gave up on it.
He gave up on it. It was basically just hey, wall. You see the wheels go from left.
Maybe his steering wheel came off the column.
This guy never gonna let that go. Never. I don't get anyone mentioning that wreck. Ever. And then I come to the RPM podcast every week. As soon as I see, hey, Josh, you remember the steering wheel? Yeah. Yes, I remember the steering wheel. You know what?
It happens to everybody. It happened to Jimmy Johnson.
That steering wheel.
It happened to Jimmy Johnson qualifying at Phoenix.
Happened to Dale Jr.
If you look on NASCAR's homepage right now, though, Martin Truex looks pretty happy. So I don't think it really hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, he's got plenty of reason to be happy because he has a 20-point lead already to start the chase, and I don't think there's any way possible that he's in the bottom 4 come 3 races from now if they don't win. I mean, the 16 drivers.
You just gave him Truex luck.
Yep,
well,
I think he was already having Truex luck.
Well, okay, let's have a discussion then. If that was to happen. If by whatever reason the next 3 races are the worst of Truex's career and he missed the chase, does that, even though this championship format's only been in play for about 3 years now, does that go down as the biggest collapse of any race team ever? Ever? I would say yes. I would say that anyway. In fact, if Truex doesn't make the Final 4, I call that a huge collapse for that team. And now that the rumors are coming out that the 77 may be shutting doors, they're starting to handpick guys who are going to stay and guys who are going to go, I could start to see a little bit of a bubble starting to boil inside that organization that could be detrimental to him, especially when you got the 42 and the 18 who have been on fire. So I'm worried about Truex now. I thought he was the man to beat up until about 2 weeks ago.
I think he's still the car to beat because, I mean, he really did, again, at least in the third segment, dominate. Until he had his Truex luck. So I think he's still got a good shot, but I think he still has to worry about his...
He still wins like a stage race every race.
Yeah, no,
like you realize that. Like he's won a stage race every race pretty much.
You know, it's funny, Neil. That's a great point. NASCAR changed this whole new point system up to really promote winning, but with this whole stage winning crap that they put on, you don't have to win the race anymore. I mean, Martin Truex has 4 wins or 5 wins to his credit, whatever it is, but he probably still leading the points even if he didn't win a damn race.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah,
That's
what's amazing about it. And Sam brings up a really good point. In fact, Truex has 4 wins. Larson has 4 wins. Yet Truex is still 20 points ahead with the bonus points from all the stage wins that he accumulated, as Sam mentioned. Then Kyle Busch would be 3rd. Then it's Keselowski, Johnson, Harvick, Hamlin, Stenhouse, Blaney, Elliott, Newman, Busch, Kurt Busch, that is, Kane, Dillon,
by the way,
Kenseth, and McMurray.
We brought up Furniture Row Racing. Apparently today they announced, or it's not too sure of the future of that 77 team. So I don't know if Truex really has anything to worry about.
Yeah, well, not for him, but to know that there are employees within that organization who probably have a hand on both cars who don't know where they're going to end up for 2018, it creates a level of uncertainty. It's like being part of a company that's downsizing.
Unless you break Kyle Busch's leg, otherwise I think Martin Truex Jr. has it this year.
I don't know about that.
He broke his leg and then he came back and won a championship, though.
Thank you, Neil. That was my joke.
Damn.
Sure.
I got it.
What a butthole.
You didn't like my jokes before, so I got to ruin yours.
I love your face, though.
Thank you. Eric says that all the time, too.
I do. Now, speaking
Because he sits on it.
Man, I'm starting to wonder about this technology we have available to us, Sam.
My face is turning red right now. This is great.
Yeah, and everybody,
There's a power
hopefully the
button
world
on
can
that.
see. There are some driver news that came out over the last few days, one of which is one that was actually released today, and that was that Danica Patrick will be out at Stewart-Haas Racing.
God.
And it sounds as though we don't think she'll be in NASCAR next season. The impact that Danica had, good,
sponsor
bad,
herself.
indifferent, anybody?
I don't think she was put in the best equipment. I'm sure she got plenty of young females excited and hopeful to get into racing, but she was never a top performer. I don't think she was.
He's dying over there.
Sam, I still
That's
have a
more
mute.
than what Eric has to say.
I still have a mute button.
Man.
Anyway, I agree with
let you
Josh,
finish.
but I think stage racing took away from Danica Patrick. Danica Patrick was really good on the long runs, and the stage racing just does not promote that, and strategy and stuff like that. I think we could have saw a Danica Patrick victory this year, but because of stage racing, we won't.
I say
She
throw it back
worked
in
her.
Xfinity.
What's that?
Throw it back in Xfinity.
That'd be fine.
For JR.
I don't think so. I think the Xfinity field is way too competitive as of right now too. And look at Junior Motorsports; they're dominating Xfinity. Who are they going to give up?
I believe that Danica herself
They're
said
gonna
she's
give up
not,
Junior.
she's not interested in returning to the Xfinity Series. So it sounds like she either wants to be in the premier level at a competitive ride, which is something that we've heard a lot from guys like Matt Kent.
Put her in a
said
Ferrari.
That.
Oh, God.
Casey Kane has also said that he wants to be in a competitive ride. In fact, the rumors today just came out that Kane said he's trying to work something out where he could run a bunch of sprint car races along with some competitive NASCAR races and some Indy car races as well, is what Kane's looking at for 2018.
I don't understand Casey Kane because he's in probably one of the best average teams, and he can barely win a race in like 10 years.
He barely wins.
Well, Hendrick as a whole has been struggling. I mean, the only car that's been successful over the last 7 years has been the 48. So,
But couldn't they do it like a Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel. Womp womp.
Frank Kimmel on the brain.
Yeah, Frank. Thing where they
All that pork.
sit in a lower division but do well there and essentially make a living off of that until they retire.
They could, but at what point does that kind of damage your credibility? I guess I don't know. I mean,
Does he have any sponsorship to go with him? I know Elliott Sadler went down. That was a great point, Josh, with One Main Financial. I think that's it.
yeah. I mean, well, Allgaier went from Cup down to Xfinity as well with the
He's
Brandt
bipolar.
team. So,
But he had Brandt, and then he went up, and then he went down. He's like, never mind. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Got to behave.
Along with sponsorship news, sounds like Eric Almirola is going to be leaving the Petty 43 to go to the now vacant 10 car at Stewart-Haas Racing, and he's pulling Smithfield with him. The Smithfield versus Petty situation has gotten rather ugly over the last few days. Smithfield coming forward announcing they will terminate their relationship with Richard Petty Motorsports at the end of the year. Richard Petty Motorsports then followed up with saying that Almirola will now be back with them, and oh, by the way, a backhand to Smithfield saying they had a handshake deal in place, and they turned around.
Stop whining.
And threw it. Additional rumors came out that the Smithfield talks with Richard Petty Motorsports broke down due to the fact that Petty wanted Bubba Wallace in the car, and Smithfield developed an incredibly strong relationship with Eric Almirola. And it just seems like the next 10 races are going to be awkward.
I think it's a bunch of
awkward. They can't even finish in the top 20.
That's where I'm going with this. It's like, yay, mediocre drive. I saw a
well done, Neil.
There was a meme. It said, great. They with Danica leaving, they went from a 30th place finishing car to a 25th place finishing car. Like,
yeah,
you're talking. This is like drama among the mediocre.
Yeah, but what's Bubba Wallace going to do for him either?
That's what I'm saying.
I disagree. I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace did a great job filling in for Eric Amarillo when he decided to wreck in Kansas or Chicago.
I'm not saying he did poorly, but I don't think it's I
think Bubba Wallace has a better future with RPM than Eric Amarillo does at HSR.
Well, and I kind of agree with you, Sam, because I think
Thank you, Eric.
Well, Smithfield came back. Their rebuttal to the allegations by Richard Petty was that they essentially called him a liar, saying there was no handshake deal in place.
Well,
and
you got to do a handshake when you sign a contract.
That handshakes are not that meaningful in
handshake
motorsports.
on the dotted line, please.
Some other kind of shake is very.
Now, but they.
I love you, Neil. This is great.
They cited performance as the reason why they want to leave the 43.
Hot dogs.
However, I agree with Sam, and I'm trying to pull the numbers up and filibuster as long as I can in order to make it happen. But Wallace ended up posting the best numbers that team has seen in probably over 2 years. The
team overall seems more excited than they have in years past when Bubba was driving. That's just my opinion.
And I kind of hate the fact that some people are talking that some people are trying to raise the fact that this may be a race issue, that Smithfield doesn't want to get involved. No, but it's a talking point, and they're saying that Smithfield may not want to get involved with Darrell Wallace Jr. for that reason, and I'll call BS on that because of the fact that if you listen to any of the racing coverage on the radio or even on television, or even if you pick up a package of Smithfield food, they embrace Almirola to the max. He does all their radio commercials, whatever television spots they have, and they use him for marketing on all of their items. So it's like you can't just sever that relationship with somebody like that, especially if they're seeing profits from their investment with him.
I think it is a race issue, but I don't think it's a race issue when it comes to the skin color. I think they just want to stick with Eric Amarillo because they feel like he's a better race car driver than Bubba Wallace.
There you go. I was worried about where you were going with that one, but I'm glad that you brought it to a head.
Race.
And you want to know what, though? To Eric Amarillo's defense, I've met Eric at a Smithfield event at Richmond conveniently last year.
Yeah.
And he represents the brand so well. And my point being, I don't think Smithfield wants to risk what they have invested in him. They're talking about almost 5-6 year sponsorship. We don't see that anymore in the Cup Series. Besides Jimmy Johnson and Lowe's, I mean, look, DuPont dropped Jeff Gordon quicker than Neil did his last girlfriend. So I mean, come on.
That is true. That is true.
Sam's kind of loaded for bear tonight.
That was pretty quick.
Sam's all jacked up because he's going to Concord Speedway this weekend, and he brings up a great point in a little talk and discussion prior to this, which we did not hit on last week. Kevin Harvick was quoted on his show Happy Hours about having a wild card race for all the drivers who are not locked into the playoffs, perhaps following Richmond or just before Richmond or wherever you would have it.
It's a glorified Conci.
But it would basically be, just one race, one short distance race where if you win, you're in, and that moves everybody on. And that's really not that much different than all other professional sports. So my question to you guys is, are you on board with it? And if that race was going to be held, where would you want it held? And Sam, you suggested one of these right off the bat.
Wall Stadium?
So.
No, I think that it should be held at somewhere like a Concord or a local short track. Isn't that what I told you, Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what I told you.
What about
I see the notes that I said. I said this race should be at Concord Speedway and on a Wednesday, and it needs balloons, lots of freaking balloons. Right?
Neil, you on board with it?
Yeah, because it kind of reminds me of like a Run with Your Brung race. Like that they used to do when they had like late models racing against modifieds against like
kind of
street
reminds
style.
me
I think
of
it would work out more like the Eldora race. I think is what it would do.
Yeah, because you would get like young like Eric Brennan could put a car together.
Where
Probably
would you
won't
want
make
it?
it, but
No,
where
no.
would I want? I'm with him. Probably Concord.
See, I think it would
Or
probably be
Winchester.
Dale.
Winchester would be nice too. 'Cause
And
it's
then-
banked.
it,
I like Winchester, man. Dude, those late
Well, the
models
thing
put
is
on
that
a show there.
there's probably a lot of tracks, and there's probably a bunch of tracks that aren't sanctioned by NASCAR currently that would
Either
make
that
good
or
tracks.
you do it at a night race at Martinsville. That's all I'm saying.
You could do
Okay.
that, too.
See,
I'm
I
with
think
that.
you could make this into an event. Like I think that if you're smart enough, you back the cutoff of the chase back up to Labor Day, and then it gives the team some time to work their stuff out. And then maybe that following Wednesday or Thursday, you have this race. Maybe have like an additional all-star event for the guys who are locked into the chase. They're not going to risk too much stuff to try to win any extra cash. Bring the truck guys there for a one-off or a midweek race as well, and you make a big thing out of it, almost like the all-star race, you know?
I will say one thing. I don't think as fun as Martinsville would be, I don't think that's the way to do it because it's going to end up being a Bowman Gray deal where if you're leading on the last lap, you know you're getting punted.
Go to Charlotte.
So?
The fans might love it, but I mean, that's just,
That's how you get fights in sports.
Joey Bailey, back me up. That sucks,
sorry.
right?
We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Now, I want to ask you guys, with the chase or playoff format being, we saw stages work out really well this year. I think we all agree the stages worked. And,
Yeah,
and that's
I'm a
it made
fan.
it better. It made it more exciting and gave you something. It gave you a good bathroom break too, if nothing else.
Heck yeah, Josh. Preach, my brother. Yes.
We saw when they started the chase, and then now the playoffs. Do you think that would work on a short track level, like a
No.
local level?
No.
No.
Just the points aspect of it, just the reset and the championship
Yeah.
standings and stuff. That's tough.
I think not like maybe a halfway point, like the halfway leader, like how they do it. Like a big race is like, oh, the halfway leader gets $150 extra,
Okay, I could see
but
that.
not having like a 100-lap race be like 30.
No, because how is it fair for the points to reset for those, there's a small field and 8 guys show up every week and 2 of them come every now and then, but they still have points. They're going to have an equal shot to bring what they have for the
Well, I
last
wouldn't
3
reset
races.
the points.
No, well, that's good. Well, the same idea as the play. But now, at the same time, and I've had one of those things where, the first, 5 or 10 races, whether I just didn't have the setup figured out yet or just, sometimes you just have bad luck and things happen. And it's like, I know we have a better car than this. And now, you could then essentially have a chance later on. Similar to the whole Kyle Busch coming back after the broken leg incident where, that was terrible luck. I mean, nobody would have expected that to happen. And then, it gave him a chance to still win and be back and prove himself. So I was getting at it. I mean, I think that would be where it would work, but you guys have found the negatives as well.
I think it would work out if you did it at a local short track that would market the crap out of it.
Okay. Yeah, but the thing is also a lot of tracks, it depends on the area, the location,
but it would
because
need to
they
be
have
a big
shorter
short track, like
well,
a big short track. But it would need to be a track that's wide enough to fit these cars,
but also
they're-
operates long enough.
Yes, who's gonna want to
So
put the lights on for that long?
Yeah.
You'd pretty much want to go south of the Mason-Dixon, which is fine because there's like a gazillion racetracks down here. There's like a gazillion and a half around my school alone down here in North Carolina. I mean, so really, NASCAR can really, and some of the short tracks down here are fantastic.
But
Concord's
then-
great.
But you have to then again work with the town, especially if you're gonna do it midweek. Not many
Neil, why are you such a Debbie Downer?
because I'm a race car driver. That's why. Because not
Oh,
many.
so
not,
you don't want to race on a Wednesday, but a Saturday's free game?
Yeah, because Saturdays are for the boys.
I got to work on Wednesday,
yes,
Sam.
they are.
I do have to work on Wednesday.
Oh.
I got to work on Wednesday so I can go racing on Saturday.
That's fair. Well,
That makes my head hurt.
I just a lot of tracks up in our area, come September. I think New Egypt's just about done, right?
They are. Yeah, they're pretty much
That's
done.
because they've been
Yeah.
rained out the whole season.
Well, no, but I mean, this is it for their season. Their
Yeah.
season has ended. Wall has a bit left to go, but then Wall, unlike a lot of other tracks in the area, they have our spooky, the Halloween race.
Spooky.
They have Turkey Derby, which is known far and wide, which is amazing. But a lot of tracks don't have that, which that makes Wall special and awesome. But that hurts the chase, the idea of a chase, because they just don't operate for a long enough season to do it. And if you're fighting weather and everything like that, they don't have makeup races on Mondays.
The cool thing about the Evergreen is they race Fridays all through the season, and then now it's all Sundays. So they do like a mid season, hey, we're just gonna throw Sundays at you now.
They do that at Concord. They race Legends and Bandoleros Friday and whatever it is, on Friday and Sunday, and then Saturday they use the big track. Or
That's
Saturday,
cool,
Sunday.
to just switch it up. Oh, hey, we're gonna go run Sundays now, but then it turns out to be Sunday night racing.
But the problem with that, though,
Sucks.
especially for a short track like Wall, is that you want to fill the seats. If their seats aren't filled with fans, who's gonna go sit in Wall for 5-6 hours in the grandstands for 7 hours on Sunday?
No, Sunday is a little bit tougher, especially when you're trying to, you got kids, school, all that, or in the summer not so much, but work. Okay, I see where that goes.
Yeah,
anyway,
well, we'll be telling you more about Neil and my experience at Evergreen this past Sunday, which wasn't all bad. There was mixed results
They
there.
tried touching me.
But no, that did not happen. Not Sunday.
They wanted to take me.
Yeah.
home.
So I did. I would have.
He did.
I offered. I offered you and
offer
Brian
to
a
take me
ride
home.
because I thought your dad and Tim were going to be bringing the trailers back. So we flew home. In fact, we caught up to you, and I think you guys left after us. So, by the way, did you see Scott Marr hanging out the window screaming at you when we drove by?
No, I was on my phone.
So
Brian doesn't talk much. Okay.
So, we're well aware. Well aware.
Hey, Brian, make a left. Okay.
All the NASCAR Top Series are going to be in Chicagoland this coming weekend. Truck race Friday, Xfinity race Saturday afternoon. They're going to be finalizing their playoff grid as well. And the first race of the 2017 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs will be on Sunday.
what is it, Sam?
To go back real quick to your question, if Truex doesn't win the championship, blah, 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 if Elliott Sadler does not win this Xfinity championship, he should consider hanging up his helmet, because it's like the third year in a row that he's actually had a legitimate shot, and he hasn't done it.
Junior Motorsports, and they've said it themselves, they think they have three very prominent bullets in the barrel with what they're bringing to the table. And then Michael Annett. Yeah, he's the fourth string.
That face right now.
Yeah. I love it. All right, when we come back on the other side, we'll talk about some quick IndyCar and F1 notes as we lead up to the season. We got a whole bunch of things to talk about on the local level, not just here, but also what happened at Evergreen, and also some national stuff that are making some storylines in the short track world. You're listening to the RPM Podcast. Sam's here from UNC, along with Neil, Josh, and don't worry about me. We'll be right back.
He's excited about them, but not us.
Hey everyone, this is Eric Brennan from the RPM Podcast. If you're looking for a dependable full auto repair and preventative maintenance center, then you need to check out O'Shea's Auto Repair in Wall, New Jersey. The family man himself, Tim O'Shea, has been providing the highest quality of automotive repair since 2000 on both domestic and imported cars, trucks, and SUVs. From race cars to street cars, O'Shea's Auto Repair covers it all. For more information, visit their website at o'sheasautorepair.com. O'Shea's Auto Repair, supporter of the RPM Podcast and proud sponsor of the O'Shea Auto Repair Factory stops at Wall Stadium Speedway. Welcome back to the RPM Podcast. Got Sam Ballard Jr. live from the University of North Carolina. I'm so happy you're here, Sam.
UNCC, not UNC Chapel Hill.
Wait, so what's UNCC mean?
UNCC is the University of North Carolina in Charlotte.
Oh, okay. There's two of them?
I'm in the better one.
Okay.
The
true
cooler one.
The true blue
The
one.
pinky's down one.
There you go. We also got Neil Rutt III and Josh Matthews, and of course I'm Eric Brennan. Before we dive into a couple things, I just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with Wall Stadium track crew member Mike Wilburn, the passing of his father. And considering all of the crazy and wild things that happen in the world of racing, there is a very good story that I read that should be touched upon. Aiden Spencer is a young racer in one of the Wall Stadium Sunday Series divisions at the track, and he picked up the win in his particular class. And after hearing that Mike's father was ill, he elected to give the trophy to Mike at the end of the day on his own accord. So there is some really cool, I got chills. There's just so much proof that racing is truly a family sport, and a lot of good comes out of it, even though we waste our time talking about, the bantering and drama and politics of it all. And And Mike, we love you, buddy. We're thinking about you and your family. And I know things were tough this weekend. Thanks for coming out Saturday and Sunday. Really appreciate it. And as tough as it is to move on from that, we're going to do just that. And we're actually going to look ahead at what's coming up this weekend. IndyCar is going to crown their champions out at Sonoma, California. 5 drivers have a mathematical shot at the championship. Currently, it is Joseph Newgarden's championship to lose, with Scott Dixon being within striking distance.
Doesn't Elio still have a shot?
And Elio currently sits in third. Will Power and Simon Pagenaud are the other drivers in the mix as well. Only 1 out of those 5 is not driving a Penske car, and that is, of course, Dixon. And I put my money on him. We talked about this last week a little bit. Sam, you weren't here last week. If you had to pick 1 out of those 5 to win the championship this Sunday at Sonoma, out of Newgarden, Dixon, Pagenaud, Power, and Elio, who'd you pick?
I like Will Power because he just comes off like such a cuck.
that can't be a reason. You got to have more than that.
Cuck isn't a bad word, Josh. Anyway.
No, I don't like Will Power.
He's gonna win the championship and then flip off.
I don't like
everyone
Will
off
Power.
the podium.
I don't know how people like him.
Well, Sam, I posed the question last week of the top 3: Newgarden, young American kid; Dixon, the comeback from the Taco Bell gunpoint robbery and the big wreck at Indy. And
I love you.
My chalupa.
I'm just saying, it's a big. You look at the season that Dixon's had. It's like scary wreck at Indy, and then gets robbed at gunpoint after winning the pole in the Indy 500. And then he only wins 1 race this year, which Dixon never does. And then you got Elio, who it sounds like this is going to be his last year in IndyCar. What's the better story for you out of those 3?
I'm a big Joseph Newgarden fan. Always has been, always will. I just like the way he drives, and if it's not Graham Rahal, it's Joseph Newgarden. Just my opinion.
Some silly season news out of IndyCar. Zach Veach has signed a multi-year deal along with his sponsor.
Zach Veach.
Yeah, he's a former
Josh,
Indy
you
Lights
stole that
driver.
from my mouth.
Which means that for the first time, and I don't know how long, it'll be an all-American 4-car lineup for Andretti Autosport in 2018. With, of course, Marco, Hunter Ray, Rossi, and now Veach. And something that came out of left field, Tristan Gomendy, who competed in Champ Car in 2007 and 2006, is going to drive the Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports number 77 with French backing in the 2018 Indianapolis 500. So there you go. There's your first official entry to the 2018 Indy 500. A guy who has not competed on an oval in almost a decade. Makes sense. That's IndyCar for you.
Golf club.
Yeah, it's boring.
Formula One will be in Singapore for the night
There you
race.
go.
I can't wait.
That's what I like to hear.
Nick Rendo is not here to talk about the win that he thinks is coming for Ferrari, most notably Sebastian Vettel, to try to retake the point lead. I don't see that happening. In fact, Neil, you think you know who's going to win this race Sunday morning.
It's either going to be Verstappen or Ocon.
Now, if it happens,
If it happens, we're going to play the lottery.
Sam, you're making a face over there.
That's because Neil spoke.
Something about Formula One too that I know nothing about, but I see more or less Verstappen win.
He just likes the pink race car. That's what it is.
The pink must have.
I didn't even know they
it.
had the pink race car until last week when me and Josh were discussing it.
Oh no, Force India I think has been the surprise of the year when it comes to Formula One.
Yep.
And the fact that Felipe Massa is retiring again, great surprise. Makes me really
He's
happy.
only
to
retiring
know
to
inside.
another series, I'll bet.
Yeah, like Formula E. Speaking of Formula E, did you guys hear that? It's Jaguar. I think it's Jaguar. They're coming out with it's like an IROC series with their cars for FIA.
No, I didn't hear
I'll
that.
send it on our Facebook.
If you can, we'll touch on it and we'll rendezvous about it next week.
Jaguar.
By the way, speaking just for ha-has, so if you were to pick, let's just say somebody like Max Verstappen to win, a $100 bet will win you $750 in Vegas, as opposed to somebody like Sebastian Vettel, who a $100 bet would only win you $150. And if you were to take the field, that's a lot less because they only list like 6 drivers. So you would have a better chance to take the field. That would be $100 to win $350 if you bet Ocon. Just saying. Not that I'm your betting extraordinaire.
I don't see Force India being there at the end. I think Sam's right. They have been the surprise, but I don't see it happening.
I see this as a pretty good investment. Kimi Räikkönen, $100 to win $1,150. So Verstappen is in fact seated higher than Räikkönen to win this weekend in the eyes of Vegas. That's pretty weird. A little weird. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. If everyone wants to play Step Give me a call.
Sure.
Now, moving on from
You
that.
have a gambling problem, Eric Brennan.
No, I don't. It's a competitive problem. I'm very competitive. I just stink at driving. Ask
From what?
Neil.
Spending your money?
So
Yeah, but I'm telling you, we need that bucket coming down with your dollar.
yeah, and I'll chase it. I'll set quick time at that place. You would be so surprised.
Did
Great.
you guys hear that pole position changed their way to RPM Raceway?
Yeah, we
Yes,
were there.
We were there.
Neil and Brian and I went.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, well,
That
I
would
didn't
be a
get it.
long waiting
it would have
time.
taken as long as it takes me to get to Josh's house for you to show up there. They would have taken that long.
The only thing you last long with.
Eric, what time did you get here tonight? I think we decided 7 to 7:30. What time did you
Yeah,
get
but he
here?
beat me.
8:45. I mean, we're approaching like Thursday on the East Coast here. It's like it's 11:30 p.m. right now.
I have to edit.
So I guess that means that we're going to shift gears over to our local segment, and I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and that was the modified race at Wall Stadium Speedway this past Saturday.
I
which,
heard it was exciting.
up until lap 39, was the best modified race that I have seen all year at Wall. Shannon Monjo took the lead from Blake Barney a few laps in and then held off a very hard-charging Andrew Krause throughout most of the race. There was a lot of paint being traded amongst the two of them. In fact, every time that I thought Andrew got to Shannon and got into him before the white flag, he backed off and let Shannon gather it back up. And it came down to the final lap where there was contact of which Shannon was not given the opportunity to gather it back up, and he ended up having one of the most vicious accidents that we've seen all year. That kind of sucked the air out of the place for a little while because it put us under a 2-hour delay to fix the guardrail. Shannon was fortunately okay. Yeah, I left that little tidbit of information out on you, Sam. We were talking
It
off
took
air.
a while.
He sportsmaned it.
I believe he took out
I
a
think that was
handful
worse
of
than a
posts.
sportsman.
It was
5
a rough one.
posts, they said.
However, the win ended up going to Andrew Krause. Jimmy Blewett got second. Stephen Reed was third. Kenny Van Wickle had a great run in the first race of 2 modified feature events, and Derek Hopkinson rounded out the top 5. In the second race, it was Stephen Reed who got the win, followed by Hopkinson, Okerson, who drove like a bat out of hell in that second race. Monjo came back, and Scott Brannick's number 51, and he finished 4th, and Andrew Krause wrapped up the night in 5th. Now, items of note out of those 2 modified races, a couple of things I want to talk about. One of which is, and I feel like I'll get roasted on an open flame if I don't talk about this in further detail. I thought that it was a hell of a race all the way up to that point, and I think that it's hard. See, the problem was Shannon's wreck was so bad that it made the contact for the win look a little more malicious than what I think it was. So I don't have a problem with the results being as they are because I consider it to be hard racing. And I also want to credit Shannon and his team for the fact that when he came back out in Brannick's car, he and Andrew raced near each other the entire race. I mean, and that always happens in racing, where the guy that you have a problem with, you end up glued to him the following race. And there was no issue.
And he beat him.
And he outdueled him. I mean, and there's no better comeback than that. And then a follow-up to that story was that I saw that Shannon, who is one of the nicest guys. In fact, I'm probably closer to Shannon on a personal level than I am with most drivers in the pit area. You know, immediately after the wreck happened, I just shot him a text to see if he was okay. You know, just to make sure he's not hurting. You know, he's got 2 young kids at home, and you're always thinking about them when you see something like that.
He probably felt fine until you texted him. He was like, "Oh,
yeah, I definitely ruined his mood on that one." But it seems like that, you know, when you look at that and you think, man, that Steve Ferrara team and that LFR chassis is just absolutely destroyed. Well, it looks as though that, you know, Steve Ferrara has teamed up with Team Outlaw, which is the organization that builds the cars for Jimmy Blewett and part-time for Eric Moriello, and they're going to have a car ready for Shannon to race this Saturday, which they've been working on, or as Jimmy and Shannon have put it on social media, they've been burning the midnight oil. So that may be one of the best bullets Shannon's ever brought to the track in terms of a modified. I remember he won in Chris Hamilton's modified a few years ago, and has had success in the 51.
Shannon can win in anything. You could put a golf cart with 15-inch tires and he'll win it in a modified.
He is. He's one of the most
It don't
versatile
matter. He'll
racers.
win.
You know, if you want to think about a driver that you could take out, if you could put any type of scenario, Shannon Monjo is the top name that comes to mind in terms of active Wall Stadium Speedway drivers. Guy could just wheel
the
anything.
whole family is. You know, the whole family's just one of the most well-known families at Wall. They've been for, you know, since they started. You know, I would put Shannon in one of my cars.
Mm-hmm.
If it was competitive, if I had a competitive car and I didn't want to race, I would say I would call Shannon up.
Oh,
If
yeah.
Shannon didn't have a ride.
Well, because you have to work on Saturdays. And
Exactly.
You put Shannon in the race car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I work on Saturdays, maybe I'll have Wednesday off to do your mid-race shows that you want.
If I had to choose between Shannon and you, Neil, I'd choose Shannon.
I would choose Shannon over me too. He's got a lot more wins, most likely, and he hasn't been in racing for longer than me.
That whole family is just, I mean,
And he's just he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
It's very
about
hard
in the
to
demo
find
derby?
a successful, good guy in racing because usually you have to adopt this mantra or adopt this attitude that you're better than everybody else, and it's hard to not flaunt it in order to be successful. I think it was Rusty Wallace who coined the phrase that if you don't think you're the best, then you shouldn't be a race car driver. And it's hard to not have that personality manifest itself to the outside world, where it just turns people
willpower.
off. I mean, Kyle Busch is a prime example. And I love the guy. I think he's one of the best race car drivers I've ever seen. But I don't know if I want to have a beer with him. Whereas you look at a guy like Shannon, it's like it's
Brad Keselowski.
It's not, or even like Brad. It's just different. It's hard to manage that level of success along with the proper personality to still be a regular dude. So, and that's why I'm happy to see the opportunity that's going to come upon him this weekend, but I'm not happy because of the circumstances. But if it wasn't for that last 3/4 of a lap, which was just circumstantial, it was just two guys who were racing really hard, trying to grab a win, both for different reasons. Shannon was trying to get his first modified win for that team after running so well in Sportsman, and Andrew, who's still trying to make up some ground in the championship if he can. Different agendas, same objective, and it just didn't work out for the two of them. But that's what happens in racing, and it just sucks at that end that way. But still plenty of racing left to go.
Real quick, I mean, I haven't been to Wall. I was having North Carolina, but I hope you guys can hear this because this is frozen otherwise on my end.
No, you're good.
Anyway, okay, cool. I'm just happy to see that Shannon and Andrew are okay. More importantly, Shannon because of the accident that happened. And the fans on Facebook need to, at the end of the day, realize that this is a hobby. I mean, for most, it's a lifestyle, but it's a hobby, and we should feel blessed and lucky that we're able to come back every weekend to do it. So it doesn't matter who wins. I'm just happy to see that the track crew and the track held up and did what they were supposed to do, and the drivers did the same thing.
And that's the thing it's a lot of people talk about this when they look at the proper way to officiate these sets of circumstances or the proper way to view some of these drivers and teams. And it's hard to do that. And I'm saying this after I just praised the personality of select drivers and how they are as individuals.
You know what the issue is? Everybody wants to be a race director, but when it comes to taking that shirt or wearing that hat, they run away.
Yeah, and the problem is that when you are approached with these situations and these circumstances, you have to judge it as if the car is solid black, solid white, no number, no name, just circumstantial evidence. Yeah, I mean, unless of course you're dealing with drivers on probation or something like that. And there's not,
or unless he drives a red 57, and then otherwise it's a free game.
jerk.
right.
thought he was gonna say
We're not talking about wait, hold on. I'm thinking of. What was I thinking of? I was thinking of Sean Carrick, 54, because he was involved in that wreck where he did
What
it.
are you
By the
doing?
way, if you want to give,
I don't know.
Wait, if you want to give a shout out to somebody, it's Sean Carrick. He came off of turn number 2, full song, and got his car halted just enough where he touched Shannon's upside down car in the driver's door. Anybody else, any other driver who has not been in the cockpit of a modified for as long as Sean has, or who did not have the wherewithal that Sean has, or didn't have as good of a spotter that Sean had, that wreck could have ended a lot worse than what it did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't believe he got that car rolled down. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I saw the video, but it's
But
like
it's wild how quickly that whole thing developed and how quickly that car slid off the wall and that Sean got his car stopped because he was the last one to arrive on the scene. And it just could have been devastating. So, Sean, hell of a job by you, buddy. That could have been awful. And that's all I got. Now, on the sportsman side, John McCormick, another feel-good story. He snapped, I think he said over 10 years since he last won. I think it was a street stock at Turkey Derby. In 2007 was the last time he won. He got his first win in the sportsman ranks. Remember all the bad luck he had in the modified a couple years back. Mike Alcaro, he showed up and he won again in the Legend Car ranks, beating out Louis Caritas and Robert French.
Kyle Larson.
And in the limited late model feature, Brian Doyle held off Cole Ormsby, who had a rebound from a couple of mid-race incidents, to win there as well. Also, just to wrap things up a little bit on the sportsman side, Nick Shaw, who had a very busy weekend, Eric Lane, Tyler Truex, the point leader, and Kyle Sisko were your top 5. So that was Wall for this past weekend.
Did you go over who won the other modified feature?
Yeah, it was Stephen Reed.
Okay.
I thought I said that. Did I say that?
I believe you did.
I think we
getting-
mentioned
My
his
bad.
name.
It's getting late. It's getting late for all of us. So I don't know. Cool thing about Stephen Reed winning was that he dedicated the win to everyone whose lives were affected on September 11th, which it seems like the further away that date gets from reality or from the present, the more lost in the fog that people become from the fact that it actually happened. And Stephen, fresh off the adrenaline of winning, was able to acknowledge that. And Neil, speaking of people who were out at Evergreen Raceway the following day, Steven was out there helping out his buddy Roger Koss. And we all went to, well, not all of us. Josh obviously had other things that he was handling.
Sam was in North Carolina.
And Sam was in North Carolina. But a lot of people from Wall went out to Evergreen Raceway on Sunday. Drivers on the factory stock side, I wrote it down, but I can't find it. Guys include, we had
Elliot Wall.
Yeah, Elliot Wall was there running.
Elliott,
Tim O'Shea, Brian O'Shea, Joey Helberg.
Joey Helberg.
Those are the Wall guys. Other than Blake Barney.
Blake
By
Barney
the
was
way,
there with
Brian
his
did a great
modified.
job on the show. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago,
What,
whenever he
shrugging
was on the
his
show.
shoulders?
Send him a message.
I will.
Okay.
I don't think he'll say anything, but
Call him. Call him.
He can type.
He'll warm up to you. He's a really good kid. Hated Evergreen though. He couldn't. He just
Yeah.
he got so frustrated with how that track drove. He just wasn't used to it.
His
and
power
Tim
steering belt actually broke.
It's better in the snow.
and Neil, am I right in the fact that they tried to change over Brian's car a little bit, and Tim's like, I'm not changing anything. I'm just going to run my wall setup.
Yeah, pretty much. Tim is like a laid back guy. He's just like he's a factory stock guy.
Have you seen him with a baseball bat?
No, but many people have. We got Mikey Nine Iron in the pit area. He's going to be Timmy Bats in a couple weeks. I'm telling you. I love that guy. Blake did a great job in the modified race.
He stood his ground.
Yeah.
Got smashed a lot. Actually was up in the fence the one time on the front stretch I saw.
Yeah, well, he kind of got a target on his back after blistering the whole field in practice. And then somebody dumped him in one of the opening heat races somehow. He really didn't know how it would happen. And still ended up being able to start up in the top 5. And I think he ended up finishing fourth.
Yeah.
Behind Zane Ziner and Austin Kokonash. I think it was DeFebo who finished third.
No, I thought it was vice versa. I thought DeFebo finished second.
Did he? I don't know. I don't remember.
I just like his car.
Yeah. So the show took forever.
Yes.
My first time going to Evergreen, and again, I think it might have been Nick Shaw who said it to me, like point blank, and he said it's when you start traveling around and when you go to some of these tracks, you really start to realize how good we have it at Wall. I mean, between the track crew, between the guys who get the show moving, the guys who keep everything in motion. I mean, I wasn't even on a race team.
you don't even have to go to a local racetrack. Just turn on NASCAR, and we don't keep ambulances in the middle of the racetrack for the trying to
I mean, it's crazy, and I feel bad. I got to meet Ted. Well, I didn't get to meet Ted Groh. Ted Groh offered me the opportunity to go call some modify race with him, but I got tied up. I was with Scott Marr, just kind of hanging out and enjoying the scenery because he hadn't been there in a while.
Butterfly.
But yeah, that was me.
Yep.
And I mean, it was a good time. You know, like I love going to different tracks, and man, this fly is gonna get the electric chair
All right,
if
keep
I
going,
catch
go on.
it. But it was a long day,
Well,
long night.
Nothing against Evergreen. I don't know. I personally like Evergreen. I know a lot of people dislike it.
I've had fun there.
I just
like
feel like their fan appreciation went on for a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
they really appreciate their fans. Jeez.
But, okay, yes, that's on a,
God,
like,
some of them give up working on Saturday. to
but
come
the
to
thing was
racetrack.
they praise like the guys from New Jersey coming there. I'm gonna get smacked in the face.
Yeah, you might.
The guys from New Jersey coming there, and we got home at like what 1 o'clock,
Yeah,
2
about
o'clock in the
1
morning. You know,
in the morning,
it
it
was
was-
kind of like I
It's
understand.
a solid 3-hour drive.
Yeah, and I don't know.
But I'll
You
tell
know,
you, I heard stories
Sam, don't-
about that 1-lane bridge that goes in there.
Oh,
And
Scary.
then about the 45-degree angled uphill climb that you have to do to
Oh,
get out.
Terrible on ice.
I mean, that's insane.
me and
Yep.
Brian didn't think we were gonna get up it.
Like that's
leaving. We
unbelievable.
were like, oh, this is gonna work.
I want to know, like in a calendar year, like how many oopsies they have on that freaking hill, like all the way from the
As soon as you
race
make
in
the
January.
left turn onto it, just make a quick right, and you'll be at the track.
Yeah,
down the hill
yeah,
at the
in
track.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like rolling into the stand that holds the tower up. Like it was unbelievable. It was a good time. Sam, I miss you.
I'm glad you had fun, Eric and
Yeah.
Neil
Should have been there.
and Josh. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm here.
In North Carolina, you mean? Away from Eric.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
You can't touch me here.
As I say, they touch each other too much.
Eric, you got to meet somebody finally, right?
I did. AJ Wright has been a fan of our show for so long, and he always tries to participate right in. And he actually was able to make it out to Wall Stadium, and I was able to catch him during intermission. What a great dude! Like hands-on, completely involved in the sport.
Did you
very
give him your
passionate
keys?
about it. And no, I didn't have to do that.
Okay.
Although somebody remind me to tell you this story, or I'll just tell it now. So.
there you go.
Somebody did
It's such a great show.
somebody did ask me for a ride home on Saturday,
It wasn't me.
and it was like I'm trying not to be a jerk about this.
Sexist.
a Sam
It
Ballard.
wasn't,
No,
man,
it was a
and I don't
track.
want
It
to
was a
go.
fixture of the track who was a fan, and I'm trying not to blow up the guy's spot, but I wasn't really
Also,
going
that
home,
guy.
and I felt bad. He didn't even say thank you. He just came up and said, "Oh, it's getting late. You think you're gonna be heading back to the hour?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna go to the bar afterwards, and I might stay in Jersey." I ended up going home, albeit at 3 a.m. But I didn't drive home. Not even a thanks anyway. Not even okay. Just turn around and walk right out. I was like, okay, never doing a favor for you again. It's the nerve of some people. Why are you shaking your head?
I don't know. I don't know why we had to go.
I got nothing.
I've driven strangers to the racetrack. I've driven strangers home.
You gave
But
strangers your
that's
keys.
not.
Yes.
It doesn't count when you
That's
pay.
All I need is a little bit of gratis, a little bit of appreciation. Like, just let me know that you understand that we're on the same page,
It
and
doesn't.
that's not what I'm talking about.
Eric, it
No.
doesn't count when you're paying.
Out of
for it.
camera
So-
motions.
It's so awkward. But anyway, AJ's a great guy, and I hope that was out of camera. AJ's a really good guy, and to furthermore add on to his involvement in the show, which if he didn't live out in the PA area, I would tell him to come on one day. But now that we know we got the Skype technology, if there's ever a day that Sam's not available, we can get AJ to jump on.
Yep.
But he did send us a story out of Monadnock. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Monadnock Speedway.
Madanach.
Monadnock.
No.
Manake. Manake Speedway.
Hakuna Matata Speedway.
Sam, what a wonderful thing.
AJ forwarded this over to us. It's kind of some fresh news, and the way that it's worded is what makes me want to talk about it. Quote, per the owner of Monadnock Speedway, there are no videos, live or post-race, to be shared on social media. This was announced at the August 26, 2017 drivers meeting. However, videos of the races were posted and shared on social media. Please remind all of your crew members, friends, and family of your race team of this policy. From this point forward, if we find a video that has been posted and shared live or post-race, the competitor will be held responsible and will lose all points and money awarded for the event. The individual sharing the video could also be banned from attending future events at Monadnock Speedway. Wow. First of all, how are you going to police this? How are you going to tie somebody who may
It's
just be
impossible.
an average fan
Easy.
to the car?
You get rid of live feed.
Yeah, and we
I
joked
hate
about
live
this
feed.
earlier.
Live feed.
Well,
videos
the
on
biggest thing is
Facebook.
people need to learn how to turn their phones so they're
It's the proper way.
widescreen instead of that whole that is the scourge of our society currently. Vertical video, the idiots.
Like I did the Seekonk race when we went with the Barneys. I had people comment like, "You did that perfect." I didn't just follow one person. I didn't zoom in all the way so the car's blurry. You follow the field, of a fan would watch. Like, okay, here's the leaders.
This is
now we're
where the
gonna
action
circle to the
is.
back of the pack. Back to the leaders now.
But
People are just like, "Oh, single car."
but if it happens, do they punish the fan by not giving them points?
Yes, they take their phone and they smash it.
See, Sam, I don't know. You've only been down in North Carolina for so long, and I don't know how many tracks you've been to. Does there seem to be like an open and shut door policy on social media for anything down there? Or you haven't dived that deep into it yet.
The South is where it's at, man. That's all I'm saying.
They
They
have razors and flip phones. I don't think they have smartphones. Like
To fix, well, I could see,
Junior.
I could see where this rule's trying to go, but then you totally cut out any free advertisement for the track. You cut out anyone having fun.
the thing that needs to stop is
why
drivers
bother
with
go to
their
a
phones in the
racetrack?
car.
Yeah, and Neil just touched on something that's
Sorry, I didn't mean
that's
to cut you off,
different.
Sam.
I'm okay with this rule, just as Neil brought up, affecting a driver that's in the car. Like if you got a phone holder on the
I'm sorry,
dashboard,
but that's like horse poop.
so
You should not have your phone in your car.
right.
GoPro's fine. out of
And
reach.
you can't work on Wednesdays.
And I can't work
or
on Wednesdays. Yes, and I'm
Sundays.
playing with this little volcano thing right now. But
This is why we
that
don't have
is-
nice things.
You should not have any digital device in your hand.
I'm on board with that.
It's,
But as far as it being a fan or a team member or a family member in the grandstand, number one, if you've ever seen a live video, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, on social media, the quality is so bad that it would probably
Facebook does
entice
that.
somebody to want to go to the thing anyway. Like, if all right, so Sam, if you're at Bowman Gray this weekend, oh no, Concord, you're going to Concord this weekend,
let's say Bowman Gray's done.
and you live stream a video, I wouldn't want you to waste your time. Like, when I was at Evergreen, people were asking me if I was going to do it, and I said, honestly, I feel like I would rather enjoy the race a little bit more than if I had to hold my phone up for 50 laps or whatever.
That
Like,
was a
I don't.
100-lap race, pretty
So
much.
yeah, it felt like 100. Hartwig ended up doing it. He ended up doing it. And he ended up. He ended up live streaming the thing, and it was good because then I didn't have to do it. But
He watched the live stream as he was watching it live.
yeah, but if you're watching it, you're like, man, this quality's not that good. I might as well just go buy the ticket and go next time. But it's free publicity, as you said, Sam. Like you're not paying for this exposure. Like all the people who are on Snapchat or who are on Instagram and showing where they're at, what they're doing, they're with their friends, having a good time. If you're going to neuter people from being able to do this because you don't want them to stream any video or something like that of what's going on, even if it's like a 10-second clip or if it's the whole race. I mean,
If
I
it's a
don't.
10-second clip, just record it and then post it.
You know,
Don't gotta live
it's
feed it.
overreach.
But the biggest thing that gets me is post race. What in the hell is going on in post race that you don't want people to see? That doesn't make any sense to me. What's the problem?
It's Pennsylvania, man.
So is that what it is? I don't know where Monadnock is.
No, Monaco is in New Hampshire.
Hakuna Matata Speedway is in New Hampshire.
Oh, well, that's in New Hampshire, man. The Granite
It's a
State.
NASCAR sanctioned track.
It's overreach.
That's the issue. That is
I
the
said
ity
that.
right there.
NASCAR-
It's a NASCAR
if you run on the
track. Next
NASCAR
thing you know, they'll have
tour-
an ambulance sitting in the
Hold
middle
on.
of pit
I
road.
forgot about that. If you race on the NASCAR tour, any NASCAR tour, you're not allowed GoPros. Whatever those 360 cameras, I think
Yeah.
you're allowed.
Yeah.
Because that's how a lot of NASCARs are. But you're not allowed GoPros. You're not allowed makeshift cameras. You're not allowed cell phones. That's how it is. That's how NASCAR touring is. They tell you in the rule books, no GoPros allowed. That could be why it's.
We should end the show before I.
But I think this post by the track is more so aimed towards people in the grandstands. I mean, and for them to say that, if they find the videos posted and shared, the competitor will be held responsible. So it sounds like that, if
the quality was better, I'd say maybe. But I mean, we have several $100s worth of equipment to get Sam on here and sound as good as it does, and it still sounds like he's phoning, a phone in. To an extent, we got it to go
Obama.
better. Yeah, but I mean, if you think about that, and this is via Facebook Live, and that's how most people are doing it. You're not getting much out of it. It's just.
I mean, even so,
If anything, it's a tease. You're blue balling the fans who want to be at the racetrack. Exactly what Eric's point being.
Yeah, it's.
I think it's incredibly stupid, and they should drop it because they're only hurting themselves.
Because the fear is, okay, if people know they're going to be able to watch the races from home, then they're not going to go to the track, and they're just going to sit at home. They're going to watch
You know what it
Facebook
is?
live stream.
They
It's
did
like-
this on purpose so they can get onto our podcast, so they have free advertisements, and more people go to the track.
That's exactly what it is.
We just fed right into it.
But can you
Wow,
imagine? Can you imagine? Let's just say, for argument's sake, everybody's bringing up the fact: what happens if you get to Homestead and the driver who wins has an illegal car and it's an encumbered finish?
Because he had a GoPro.
Well, what happens if somebody who is about to win their track championship in a division at this racetrack has his wife filming in the grandstands and Facebook living it, and they happen to catch her, and then midweek they take away their points and pay because she ended up
What is
doing
this,
that?
Wall Stadium now?
So, well, I'm saying like that's.
Wow, Neil.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I told you.
but I'm saying that's the thing. It's how far do you police this? And like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
I
to
think
me.
it's just because it's a NASCAR sanctioned track. That's it.
I think it's
When Neil
impossible.
They want you to
for
buy
this.
their videos, their
What he
NASCAR
said.
sanctioned videos.
You point at me.
No,
No,
he
what
can't
Neil
see me.
said.
I'm over here in the
No,
corner.
I can't see you.
Oh, am I this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Um,
Cameras
I
over here.
said we need to put you in the chair.
If Wall told me, hey Sam, no GoPros allowed in the car, I'd be the first one on the pit grid with a baseball bat and to tell him, hey, you take it off or I'll take it off for you. You can ask Eric Graham. I told the WKA no more GoPros, and I'll stay on the back stretch. If they tell him, I start swinging on them. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
I'd like
Got a
that.
point.
said
He is like the guy to check all your equipment, like how they like wall mandates. The Nomexes. Obviously, you can't tell if someone's wearing bottoms because that'd be a
you
little
remember
weird for
last year?
Sam.
During Turkey Derby, when that one girl with the legend car, she blew up, she caught on fire
Yeah,
in practice.
she didn't have the top. Right, she
remember
didn't
that?
have the top on or something like that.
No, she did.
Oh, she did.
You're welcome.
I'm not touching that one.
He's usually busy
Now-
running away from me. Or
No. But he comes by
Well, no,
to every
my
single
point
car and
being
makes you in
Was
checks.
I checked to see if they had the. Thank you, Neil. Thank you.
That's one thing I liked.
There's some care in your work ethic. That's all.
Yeah, it's not all.
That's
Yeah.
why. That's
Yeah,
why
well,
you're
you don't
staying
want to
up
see
till.
a driver get burned or at your
No.
home track.
No, and
That does
I
some.
agree.
Oh, it's on your head. Give him the fly swatter.
No,
Gotta take
no,
him
you're
down.
not taking it out on me.
Take him down.
Josh, something going on in Englishtown this weekend.
yeah, we have the U.S. Diesel Truck and Nationals. They're going to have jet
Yeah.
cars. and
Where
monster
town?
Sorry. Throw a burning tire. Throw a burning tire into us.
That's
yeah.
a huge thing. Like I don't know. Sam is laughing
Dude,
hysterically.
it's where
Look,
town
I don't
people.
care
I'm telling
how
you.
I don't care
No,
how old you are.
I know a
Monster
couple
trucks
people
are
from.
fun.
I know a couple people from Long Island who go to that. I know a couple people from Staten Island who go to that. I know some people from South Jersey who go to that.
But monster trucks
It's
are always
it's
fun.
a big deal. No, but it's
Jet
a
cars
big
are
deal.
cool. I mean, come on, they
cars
strap
are
a jet
cool.
engine to a tiny chassis and just go.
Josh, I can outdo you. We have the NHRA in town in Concord, North Carolina, this weekend.
No, they just
Meh.
have skid plate racing down there. Wall needs that. on the
that would be
banking.
fun. Or the trailer racing, or the train.
I could go
I
away
gotta
with.
gotta look into
I
that.
could go. You never saw
Did you
skid
say
plate
tranny
racing?
racing?
No.
train.
Oh, dude, you need to look at skid plate.
Or trailer. But yeah, so they got that going on. Some sad news for the 24 Hours of Lemons. Speedy Cop, one of their, a big player in the series. They had this really cool helicopter car that was actually street legal. I mean, it looked like a helicopter missing the rotors and it would go down. They had they believe an electrical fire started in the tail and that whole thing went up and everyone was safe and okay, but that thing melted down to the ground. There's nothing but a roll cage left, so that's
Black
sad.
Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh.
Absolutely insane.
Nothing from you, Sam. Didn't not even a laugh.
I'm
That
trying
was-
to bite my tongue.
Come on.
That was
I thought
good.
that was a good one for you.
Oh, well. What else we got? Anything?
Ladies' night at Wall,
Ooh.
which is my kind of night.
Eric,
So,
what kind of candy do you like?
so what?
This is for something we're putting together. We'll do that. I think we're running short on time, so we'll do that next week.
I just like candy.
We have a.
I do like candy. I'm stopping at Wawa to get gas.
We have a
and
fall
candy.
/ Halloween thing coming up soon.
Can we wear costumes for that week of Halloween?
I'll do it. I
Your
was thinking
face
about
is the
ordering.
costume.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Sam, I'm gonna fly to North Carolina. Okay, and we're gonna go to we're gonna go to Concord first, and then I'm gonna beat you
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like all the other drivers do at Wall.
Yeah.
All right.
pretty
So,
much. This guy.
what have we learned today, Sam?
Oh, why do you have to start with me?
Eric?
I learned that there's a track called in New Hampshire.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata Speedway.
I hope I win the lottery and make a racetrack.
Beats
called
Five
that.
Flags.
Five Flags.
Eric, what did you learn?
I learned that we could actually really do this, and Sam didn't waste his money on that remote setup because he's been in college for over a month, and this is the first time we've had him on. So thanks for coming back, Sam.
Hashtag no invite.
Neil, what did you learn?
I realize Sam doesn't appreciate anything I do on the show.
That does seem
And
surprising.
my
That is so
wait,
accurate.
and my picks for like any race. Like he doesn't appreciate me.
I appreciate you, Neil.
And here we go again.
You're on this side of the table. at
I know,
least.
because Sam's on that side, touching him via
Yeah,
Skype.
thanks, guys.
I learned.
I'm sorry.
I learned that willpower is a cuck. And I learned that Sam made sure Girls Top was on last year.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Good
Yeah.
Catholic boy.
Wah.
I'm virtually getting molested by Eric Brennan right now.
I'm not even doing anything.
I told you via
I
Skype.
send you one selfie, and it's a big deal. Everybody got it.
Yeah, but we all have it now, and I have a screenshot it too.
Oh
It's
man.
bigger than something else.
So, on behalf of Sam Ballard
And we're gonna
Jr.,
end.
He's tapping out. Sam, in all seriousness, it's good to see your face, good to see you back, and all that
I'm
stuff.
glad to be back, guys. It feels like home.
Good to see you from the top up.
Yeah, if only you could change your schedule. So that we don't have
Oh,
to do
here we
this-
go.
Oh, God.
And end the show now, please. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. On behalf of Sam Ballard Jr., live from UNCC, Neil Rutt III, Josh Matthews. I'm Eric Brennan. We'll see you all at Wall Stadium this Saturday for Ladies' Night.
And it's 12 o'clock.
And it's officially Thursday. Have a fantastic rest of your week.
Go to Wall.